We have seen the tobacco industry seek to interfere in communities that are either disproportionately harmed by tobacco or where we have seen that they have higher use rates or they've actually been targeted by the tobacco industry with specific marketing. Here in Minneapolis, in 2016, our African American Coalition began to work on restricting the sale of menthol cigarettes to adult-only shops. And then in January of 2017, Reverend Al Sharpton and two of individuals who were former law enforcement came in and were going to hold a leadership summit at one of the local churches. Our African American Coalition members got wind of this. We found out that his organization was being funded by Reynolds America, who actually produce a couple of menthol brands to actually do this tour. And the idea and what he was trying to talk about was that the banning of menthol could create a greater hardship for African American young men who then, when they could be criminalized or penalized if they were either smoking or buying these products. And so they tried to make it sound like the banning of menthol would actually continue to raise this issue of justice and criminal justice in the African American community. Because our African American advocates were aware of this and were prepared for it, they were able to cite research done here in Minneapolis that the majority of the African American community really wanted to have these products out of their community. They wanted to restrict that sale to adult-only shops, and many of them were able to talk very directly about their experience with menthol and how it affected their families or even them as individuals. So this was a very good example of where a local coalition was able to come in where the industry was trying to interrupt or target a community and really have a good response. Our recommendation is really develop local coalitions. Had the African American Coalition here in Minneapolis not been working on this, it would have been a lot harder to respond to Reverend Al Sharpton, but because they were well organized, they were well informed, we had managed to help them through a legislative process be able to do some local research. They had all this information to really respond in a very direct way to the industry and to that specific meeting that was held here in that year.